All right, guys. So I've been trying so hard for the last like 2 hours, I can't sleep, to finally put together a list of my top films of all time. So I settled on top 40 just because, I don't know, top 50 everyone does. Top 40, you got like, top 40 on the Billboard charts. So whatever, figure to go with that. Now, this is unfathomably hard. And I absolutely guarantee that there's going to be a few movies that I completely forgot about that I'm going to remember as soon as this video's over. And I'm going to say, oh my God, man, like, how did I forget to put that in the top 20 or top 15 or something like that? Definitely going to happen. But for now, here's a first draft of JT's favorite top 40 films of all time. Number 40, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 2, Freddy's Revenge from 85. Yeah, Part 2. It's my favorite in the series, has the darkest Freddy, the most evil Freddy, my favorite shot in the series, and line from Freddy with You're All My Children Now, with the fire behind him. The practical effects in the film are the best in the series for me. The practical effect of him bursting out of Jesse is the best in the series. Amazing film. So hated on for just the stupid gay undertones, and who cares? Like, who cares about any of that? It's the best in the series for me. So, number 40, Nightmare on Elm Street, 85. Nightmare on Elm Street 2 from 85. Number 30, shut up. I gotta shut this notification thing up. It's very annoying. The sound for it. I keep forgetting. Number 39, Phantasm from 79. I adore almost the whole series of Phantasm. It's a shame that Ravager turned out being so bad. I mean, I can still watch it, like, especially if I'm watching the whole series, but it's not good, and it's not the ending the series deserved. But Phantasm is fantastic. Don Coscarelli, I love everything that he does and has done. I love Angus Scrimm, like, more than words could say. I love Reggie Bannister. I love Mike. I love what the hell's the other one's name? I always blank on it. Whatever. But absolutely fantastic movie, and that is number 39. Number 38 is Analyze This with Robert De Niro and Billy Crystal. Hilarious film. This movie's so funny. I've seen this movie so many times throughout my life. It's another one of those like family films and stuff that I grew up with. De Niro's probably my favorite comedic role from De Niro. And Billy Crystal just nails it the entire movie. So funny, hysterical. Analyze This, number 38. Number 37. It's been a while since I've done a list. Twitch of the Death Nerve, or A Bay of Blood by Mario Bava from 71. Now, I always cite this as the film that pretty much shaped and molded what would become the slasher genre. Like, not Halloween, not Black Christmas. Like, these are very early examples, and they definitely had their influence for sure. But it all traces back to me for me, it traces back to Mario Bava's Twitch of the Death Nerve. It's just a fantastic slasher giallo, like, very, very inspiring on Friday the 13th, and to the point that Friday Part 2 steals two kills, one of them just completely. Like, absolutely identical kill, shot the same way, everything. Stole it from that movie. But phenomenal film from Bava, and this is just one of a few times he will be on this list. Number 36 is Exorcist 3 from 1990. I almost love this film as much as the original. Like, it's so close. But one of the greatest jump scares in horror. Just George Michael Scott is phenomenal in everything. His performance in this is amazing. Brad Dourif, is phenomenal in everything. Jason Miller is excellent as usual. Amazing sequel, especially after the ambitious yet train wreck of a film The Heretic was. So Exorcist 3, and it's weird because if this was just a top horror list, a lot of these films would be much higher up. It's because it's just film in general. Other genres are bleeding into it. But I gotta do a separate list, like just for horror. Even though like 85-90% of this list is horror movies. Alright, what are we up to? Number 35 is David Lynch's Eraserhead from 77. Just balls to the wall insanity. Eraserhead is. Just, that was probably one of the hardest films to talk about on this channel. And as usual with all my lists, I'll put in the description links to all the films here that I've done videos on, which I'm pretty sure it's like every single one of them. Maybe minus a few. So I'll put all those in the description. But yeah, Eraserhead, just, I think it's one of the greatest directorial debuts in film. Just an absolute masterpiece. It's so surreal. It's so mysterious, ominous, atmospheric. What more can you want from Lynch? Like, absolutely excellent. So that's number 35, Eraserhead from 77. Number 34 is George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead from 68. What can you say about it? It started the whole modern zombie. Like, before that, it was pretty much zombies were all just science gone wrong or voodoo. Romero just came in with this film and just changed everything about the zombie and just turned it into such a huge subgenre of horror. It's an absolute classic. It's gone up for me, up and up and up with each rewatch over the years. I used to like Dawn over Night, and Day is my favorite. So, used to be in last place in the trilogy. Still always loved it, but I gained a lot more appreciation for it over the years, to the point that it has made my top 35 films of all time. So, number 35, or 35 for 34, Night of the Living Dead from George A. Romero. Number 33, Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, 1986. It's my favorite in the series. I mean, if this was top 50, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 would be on there. Like in the next higher up 10, leading to 50, for sure. I was debating putting it on here, just for how influential it is and how phenomenal the imagery and the camera work, everything by Hooper in that. But since it's my favorite in the series, this one trumps it. I love everything about Texas Chainsaw 2. It's totally different and such a big risk for Hooper to do and take. And it paid off immensely. And Bill Moseley, we owe Tobe Hooper for Bill Moseley's career. And imagine a world without Bill Moseley. I wouldn't want to. So, Texas Chainsaw 2, number 33. Number 32, go fuck yourself, Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2 from 2000. People who watch enough and know me, you know how much I adore this film. I've seen this movie an unhealthy amount of times in the last 23 years since it released, and you guys know I'm not a fan of the original Blair Witch Project. So here's another sequel that's ahead of the original for me that's on this list. So Book of Shadows from 2000, Blair Witch 2 at number 32. Number 31, what I consider one of the best remakes of all time, is Maniac from 2012 with Elijah Wood. This film's a work of art. Everything in it, just the whole film, 99.8% of it is first person point of view. And it's, as much as I adore the original Maniac with Spinell, it's just, it was another real ballsy decision here to do it all in first person, to switch locations to LA instead of like seedy, disgusting 80s New York, which is what's great of many things of the original Maniac. But this is such a phenomenal remake. And just the kills in this, like some of the effects, I don't even know how they did them. That's how realistic they look. They look so gruesome and good in this film. Elijah Wood kills it, and just knowing that he's a huge horror fan adds to it too. But absolute amazing remake. If you haven't seen the remake, go watch it. Like, can't stress enough how good it is. And like I said, one of the best remakes ever. So, Maniac from 2012 at 31. All right, closing out 30s with number 30, and it's Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead from 81. What more can you say about it? I said a lot about it in my video. It'll be in the description. But it's not my favorite Raimi and Evil Dead film, but it had to be on the list. It's still in my top films. And I'm going to start breezing through these a little faster because, I mean, like I said, I've talked about all these so much. So if you want to hear my thoughts, go watch the videos. All right, number 29 is Dario Argento's Tenebrae from 1982. Absolutely love this film. One of my favorite giallos of all time. And just the use of the color white in this film, and the kills, and especially the end kills, and just the blood on the walls and everything. It's such a gorgeous film, just like all Argento's classic films, from Bird with the Crystal Plumage through Opera. Phenomenal stuff. So that's number 29, Tenebrae from Dario Argento. Number 28 is Inglourious Bastards from Quentin Tarantino from 2009. Just did a video on this. Masterpiece. Absolutely adore it. No faults. Number 27 is Ruggero Deodato's Cannibal Holocaust from 1980. As controversial as this movie is, I love this movie to death. The score, as some of you know, I am obsessed with, and is one of the most gorgeous scores in a film. So, Cannibal Holocaust, as sick as it is, I love it. So, that's at number 27. Number 26 is Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, aka Brain Dead, from 92. Now, this is my favorite zombie film, but I will get to a point here later on in the list that kind of contradicts this, but it still is my favorite zombie film. The practical effects are unreal in this. Like, this is just amazing, masterful, low-budget filmmaking. Every dollar, every cent was spent perfectly and just used in the best way possible. I don't care for people who can't watch it because of how gory it is, and just over the top. It's a masterpiece. So, Dead Alive, Brain Dead at number 26. We're entering the top 25. Number 25 is Scanners from David Cronenberg from 81. My favorite Cronenberg film. It's perfect. Michael Ironside's whole performance in it is just an amazing villain performance in a horror sci-fi film. Excellent film. That's all I'll say. Number 24 is Stuart Gordon's Reanimator from 85. There's a lot of films from 85, 77, and 82 on this list, I've noticed, which I've always known and thought are some of the best years in horror. But Reanimator, Jeffrey Combs, is one of my favorite actors in horror. One of my favorite actors, really, in general. Like, I love Jeffrey Combs. The whole triangle of Stuart Gordon, Barbara Crampton, and Jeffrey Combs could do no wrong back in the 80s and early 90s. Castle Freak and From Beyond, and Reanimator here, and there's another few that they all did together, right? But everything with the three of them is just masterful. And this is just such a fun, dark comedy horror, and it's phenomenal. So, Reanimator at number 24. Number 23 is one we just watched. Whoops, don't do that. Watched recently on the channel, The Fifth Element from Luc Besson from 97. I've talked a lot about this film. It's just some of the most creative and original stuff I've seen ever in a film. Like the whole Plava Laguna diva scene, especially. There's nothing like that scene in anything, in film or TV or any medium ever. Like, it's absolutely perfect. It's so imaginative. Excellent sci-fi film, and I'm not a sci-fi guy really. So, Fifth Element at number 23. Number 22 is one we just talked about. This is Mulholland Drive from David Lynch. It's his second appearance on here, and it is just a masterpiece of a film. Go watch the video. I just posted it a few hours ago. And funny enough, number 21 is what we will be watching tonight, Friday night at 10 p.m. Armageddon from Michael Bay, 98. Yeah, I know. Trust me. It's not a perfect film by any means. It's a guilty pleasure movie. It's a very nostalgic film for me. And I'm not a big action movie guy. Like, especially for like after the 80s. But it's a perfect film for me, action-wise. Like, it has everything. It has action, it has some sci-fi, it has Bruce Willis. It's his own little category. Like, anything with Bruce Willis, his subgenre is Bruce Willis films. So you got Bruce Willis. The cast is amazing. There's comedy, there's romance, there's everything in this film. It was a summer blockbuster. It was a big one, and for a damn good reason. It's an amazing summer blockbuster, fun film. So, Armageddon, number 21. We are entering the top 20 horror films ever. No, it's not the horror films. All films, for me, of all time. Now, this movie at number 20 is probably the fastest that I've seen a film, and then it instantly became a masterpiece for me. Like, unreal how fast this went. But it is 1977's The Haunting of Julia from why am I blanking? Lon Crane, the director. I'm blanking on his first name. Richard Lon Crane? I think that's it. Just saw this a few months ago. Perfect. Absolute masterfully done. Masterpiece of a movie, and it just finally got physically released for the first time this year, like since the late 80s on VHS. So it was not a common movie that people heard of or saw or anything like that, besides like on television and stuff, or if they had the VHS, which is why I never saw it until recently. But yeah, the fastest that I've seen a film, and it just became a masterpiece for me, like instantly, along with one other film on this list that's pretty similar to that. So, number 20, The Haunting of Julia, aka Full Circle from 77. Alright, number 19, and I cheated a bit. Like usual with these lists, I had to cheat a little bit on like 2 or 3 entries. And number 19 is one, it's a tie between, and I thought it was cute, Candyman from 92 and The Empty Man from 2020. I always forget if it's 2020 or 2021. Might be 2021. But The Empty Man and Candyman. If you haven't seen The Empty Man, so many people haven't. And it's a crime. I don't even think it doesn't even have a physical release. You can get it from Redbox. Like, if they still even carry it. Like that was the only way that I knew, like, to get a copy of it. And they had it on HBO Max for a long while, and then they took it off. So now I own it on my computer. It's a masterpiece of a film. Like, a modern masterpiece of horror. And has one of the greatest cold opens, a long one. Like, opening 20 minutes. It's just absolutely sublime. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Try to track it down. And yeah, tied with Candyman, just perfect. And Tony Todd is phenomenal, and so is Virginia Madsen. And Philip Glass's score is one of the greatest scores in a film. So those two at 19. Number 18, we have William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist from 73. Nothing more you can say. Moving on. All right, number 17 is Black Sunday from Mario Bava, 1960. And I will also say number 16 is Psycho from 1960. Funny how they're both right next to each other, because I consider both of them like the most influential horror films ever made. Like when Hitchcock was making Psycho in 1960 and that revolutionized and changed horror forever here, Mario Bava was doing the same thing in Italy with Black Sunday. And that just absolutely changed everything for especially Italian horror, but and that just spread through all countries and all horror. And look at Mario Bava's legacy now. Black Sunday, absolutely phenomenal. And then Psycho at number 16. All right, top 15. Number 15, Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter from 84. It is my favorite slasher film of all time. I think it's the greatest slasher film ever made. And how can I not have a Friday film on this list? Number 14 is Dario Argento's Suspiria from 77. Another perfect film, another perfect soundtrack and score, a visual wonder, an assault on the senses. Amazing. Number 13, and I just realized this, that it's number 13, Unlucky 13, is Very Bad Things from 1998. I just talked about this one recently. It's just one of the best dark comedies ever, in my opinion, and it's never really talked about, which is a shame, except by me recently, so go check out that video. Number 12 is a third appearance from Mario Bava on this list, Lisa and the Devil from 73. Now, I always say that this film and another one by Bava are tied for my number one Bava film, but when I was really trying to think about it here, the other one got the edge. So yes, Mario Bava appears 4 times on here, and I believe, yeah, he is the most appearances on this list. So Mario Bava has the most top films for me. That's interesting. Not surprising, but it's very interesting. So Lisa and the Devil, fantastic. It's such an underrated Bava film, I feel, also. Check it out if you haven't seen it. So that is number 12. Number 11 is Sam Raimi's Evil Dead 2 from 87. My favorite Evil Dead. It's just, might be my favorite horror comedy of all time. It's just the perfect balance between the slapstick humor with Bruce Campbell and all the humor, and mixed with it just being horrifying also. Perfect. Evil Dead 2, number 11. Let's jump into the top 10. Now, number 10, I completely cheated like a motherfucker here. I can't pick. I can't. And so it has to be Lucio Fulci's The Beyond and City of the Living Dead. I pretty much, like, I wrote Gates of Hell trilogy, because, I mean, House by the Cemetery 2 is just a masterpiece. So, pretty much just the Gates of Hell trilogy from Lucio Fulci. So, 3 films tied for number 10. I just can't pick. Like, if you're a Fulci fan, could you? Number 9 is Darren Aronofsky's Requiem for a Dream from 2000. Based off the book by Hubert Selby Jr., which is fantastic. I own it. I have read it. It's been a while, but the movie's even better. And so much of it has to do with Aronofsky's the camera work and the editing. The editing in this film is some of the best editing in a movie for me. So many great camera tricks and quick little shots strung together, little mini montages. It's so good. Ellen Burstyn gives one of my favorite performances from an actress in a film. What more can you say? It's just also one of those films that I just can't watch that often, because it's depressing as shit, man. So number 9 was Requiem for a Dream. Number 8 is, I believe, yes, Mario Bava's last appearance here with his 66 ghost haunting masterpiece, Kill Baby Kill, which is just the best ghost film ever made for me. Like, no better ghost film. and the most effective looking ghost. And it's just a little Italian kid in a blonde wig to look like a girl. That's it. So effective, so good, and just masterfully done, like everything Bava's done. So, Kill Baby Kill at number 8 by Mario Bava. Number 7 is Clue from 1985. Clue is one of my favorite comedies of all time. It's one of my most watched movies of all time. I know every line to it. When I was young, I would just recite all of Tim Curry's lines near the end of him explaining like how everything was done. Still know every single line to this film. It's absolutely perfect as a comedy. It's right up my alley, comedic wise, and the best. So good. Amazing cast, amazing humor, amazing writing, everything. So Clue from 85 at number 7. Number 6 is Dario Argento's Deep Red from 75. Probably, yeah, definitely. My favorite giallo of all time. Deep Red. And my favorite Argento. So, had to be there. And go watch my video on it because I say a lot. Are you ready for the top 5? Number 5, Day of the Dead, George A. Romero from 1985. Another 85. Like I said, the last one, this one, and the next one are all from 85. A ton of them on here are. This film is my second favorite zombie film behind Dead Alive and Brain Dead. But I don't consider Dead Alive your traditional zombie film. So as a zombie film, I prefer it over Day of the Dead. As film in general, Day of the Dead for me is my top 5 films of all time. So Day of the Dead from Romero, perfect. Number 4 is Martin Scorsese's After Hours from 85. Just did a watch with this with Gareth, my Brit friend from Video Tasties over there across the pond. And just, yeah, that's my favorite comedy of all time. Yep. Favorite comedy of all time, After Hours. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Now, most people should already know, if they know me, what the top 3 is. But Halloween at number 3, John Carpenter from 78. The first horror film I ever saw, 6 years old, changed my entire life. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for this movie. So, can't say anything else about it. That has not been said at this point. Now, I cheated for number 2. I had to. I just couldn't. I couldn't pick. And it's between The Last of the Mohegans from 92, Michael Mann, and Shawshank Redemption as my favorite non-horror film. I couldn't pick. So they're tied at number 2. Just absolutely amazing, breathtaking films that have a huge, huge, huge place in my heart. So absolutely awesome films. Last of the Mohegans and that other one. Yeah, you see the light coming up in the background. It's like 5:30 in the morning almost. So forgive me. Last of the Mohegans and Shawshank Redemption at number 2. Let's go to number 1. Should be no surprise. Number 1. Any guesses? No. How do you not fucking know that answer? Number 1, John Carpenter's The Thing from 82. Everyone knows it's my favorite film in this community and people who watch, so no surprise there. So I'm not going to go and recount them and go through all of them again. I'm just check the description tomorrow because I'm not going to be posting links and stuff to my videos on all these films, 40 films, or close to that, 35 to 40. Right now at 5:30 in the morning, it's not happening. So that is my top 40 for now. It can always change. And so far, I'm thinking, I don't think I blanked on anything. But I know I did. I know there's a film, at least one, if not several, that I'm going to kick myself in the ass tomorrow for. But that's my top 40 films of all time, guys. I finally tried to do this. Have a good night, early morning, whatever it is, wherever you're from.